What's up guys, it's James out, the out-of-state investor, and today I thought it would be fun to look at sites like Zillow, Opendoor, Offerpad, and see which one of these is the best way to go if you wanted to sell to an iBuyer. Now for this video, I actually took one of my own properties and went through the entire offer process myself, so that way you can see which company offers me the most, which company charges the most in fees, and I'll also touch on whether or not I think it's even worth going this route versus just simply listing it on the market. So before I go any further, do me a favor and smash that like button. And if you haven't already done so, you got to subscribe and hit that notification bell to watch more videos like this. And with that said, let's jump into it. All right, so what even is an iBuyer? Well, an iBuyer is basically a company that uses computer technology to analyze the market and determine what they're able to offer you on your house. Now, sometimes it could mean an immediate offer, which just means that once you put the information into the website, they're gonna pump out an immediate offer based on that information you gave them. Now, keep in mind, it is still subject to inspection, so it doesn't necessarily mean that's the final number you're gonna get from them. Now, in other instances, there may be somebody else that's on staff that actually takes a look at the deal itself in addition to the technology, so it may take a few days before you actually get your initial offer. So with that said, why even use iBuyers? Well, the main reason you're gonna hear them talk about is it becomes a hassle-free experience. You see, selling a house can actually be a very stressful situation, and when you go the iBuying route, you get to avoid a lot of those common stresses. For instance, you actually don't have to worry about getting your house prepped and ready for the market. You also don't have to deal with a lot of showings. If any repairs come up, you don't have to worry about that. They can take care of that for you, and they'll just adjust the price accordingly. You also don't have to worry about the buyers selling their house before they close on your house, which is a common problem that people face because most Americans can't close on 2 mortgages at once. They can't afford that. So overall, going the iBuying route actually makes it a lot less complicated and just makes it a hassle-free experience. Now for my house, I ended up filling out the exact same information across every platform, so make sure I'm getting an apples to apples comparison across every platform. Now I did make a lot of upgrades on this house, and so they ask a lot of questions to get an idea what kind of condition the house is in. They want to know what kind of flooring you have throughout. They ask things like countertops and different upgrades that you've put in the house, so that way they can give you the most accurate offer. But they don't just focus on upgrades, they also focus on things that might devalue the house. Things like maybe excessive cracking, maybe if it's on a septic tank, or even if it has leased or financed solar panels. Another thing they always ask you is how soon are you wanting to sell? Now, if you're going this route and you're filling out this application, I highly recommend it's in your best interest to always act as though you're not in a hurry to sell the house. Unless you are in a hurry, then that's a whole different issue. But if you're not in a hurry, always put you're just browsing or just put the lowest amount of time possible because you really don't want to seem like you're a desperate seller. You see, if you do come across that way, there's a chance they may end up giving you a lowball offer because maybe they have the perspective that you need to get out of the house fast and you'll be willing to take whatever you can get to just get out of the house. Now, once you've done all this and you've answered all their questions, they're either going to give you an immediate offer at this point that they'll probably email to you, or the other thing that might happen is they'll give you a time frame of when they'll get back to you, maybe a couple days, maybe 3 days, something along those lines. So with that said, here are all the offers I received from Zillow, Opendoor, and Offerpad. And keep in mind, these offers are subject to inspection and seeing photos and all those kind of things, but at least you get an idea of what the initial offers were from each of the companies. All right, so Zillow gave me an offer of $507,500. Offerpad gave me an offer of $510,000, and Opendoor gave me an offer, the biggest offer of all, of $523,100. So at this point, it seems like Opendoor is giving me the best offer, but in order to know what is really the best offer, you gotta know each company's terms. Now, what I mean by this is every company has their service fees and other kind of closing costs that you're gonna have to incur when you're trying to close on the deal. So you really gotta look at the fine print to understand what you're gonna get when you finally cash out of the deal. Now, Opendoor told me that their service fee is a 5% fee, which in this case would be a $26,155 fee. And in addition to that, I would be looking at closing costs, which they couldn't give me an estimate for at the time, and make-ready fees, which what they told me about the make-ready fees is that they're not going to nitpick all the little things. They're going to be looking at more like the major systems, like the HVAC system, like the roof, and things of that nature. They also told me that first they're going to need to inspect the property, and then they can finally give me their final offer on the property. And at that point, I have the choice to close as fast as 14 days, or I can delay it to close up to 90 days after that. Now, one thing that I thought was pretty cool that they offer you is if you need a little extra time to stay after closing, you could stay up to 7 days after closing, penalty free, no problem. And if you need even more time than that, they can do what's called like a prorated rent for an additional 14 days. So essentially, you could stay up to 21 days after closing is done, which can be really beneficial if you need that extra time to close on your second property that you're closing on after you sell this property. So it could be a very convenient situation. Now, on top of that, they want to incentivize you to use them for buying. And if you do use them for buying, then they're willing to actually give you 1.25% of that purchase price that they bought your property for as a closing cost credit on the house that you buy. So essentially, if you sold your house for $500,000, you'd be looking at somewhere around like $6,000 in closing cost credit towards the house that you end up buying, as long as you use them for the buying service. Now, with Offerpad, they also charge a 5% service fee, which in this case, with their offer of $510,000, I'd be looking at about $25,500. Now, to put it in perspective, it's very typical for agents to charge anywhere from 5 to 6% in selling fees. So you're pretty much at the standard of what you're normally going to pay when you sell a house. Now, as far as the make-ready costs go, they told me a similar thing as Opendoor said, which is they're not going to nitpick all the little things. They're going to look for larger problems. And if something does come up, they'll be happy to send me pictures and evidence of what they found, and they'll have to renegotiate the price at that point. But other than something big coming up, they're ready to move forward on it. Now, as far as additional closing costs were concerned, they were able to give me a rough estimate of $3,500. Now, as far as extra closing costs go outside of the service charge fee, they're going to be roughly about the same company to company. So I'm just going to give everybody $3,500 in a rough estimate for closing costs. Now, as far as when I can close on the deal, what they told me is that the quickest they can close is going to be 3 weeks out. And in addition to that, they only give you 4 days to the side, so they really pile on the pressure to get you to act fast on that offer. Now, one unique thing that Offerpad offers that Zillow and Opendoor didn't offer is they'll offer you free moving services if you use their platform. So that could save you anywhere from $1,000 to $2,000 roughly if you end up going with them. Now, finally, we have Zillow's offer, and Zillow already came in at the lowest purchase price at $507,500. Okay, but on top of that, they told me that their service charge fee came out to 13.4%. Yes, you heard that right. 13.4%. It's just ridiculous. So not only did they give me the lowest offer, they also give me the largest service charge fee by far. It's more than almost triple what the other places are offering. So overall, I have to be honest, this is just a complete ripoff. I would never pay a 13.4% service charge fee, especially when typically agents only charge between 5 to 6%. So overall, I think Zillow's offer, I mean, you're already the lowest offer out of the bunch, but on top of that, the most ridiculous service charge fee, I would even waste your time with Zillow.
Also, just a quick update. As you can see, the New York Times recently reported that Zillow is actually facing some massive losses. They actually quit flipping houses, which means they're actually holding off on buying houses at this point. And this actually might explain why the service fee was so much. I'm not absolutely certain, but I did get my quote right before this whole thing broke out, so they may have already been feeling some pain trying to make up for it with higher service fees.
So overall, I wouldn't even consider Zillow in this. It's really a matter of Opendoor versus Offerpad as far as I see it. And if I had to choose a winner, I'd have to go with Opendoor, because not only did they have the lowest service fee or tied for the lowest service fee, but they also gave me the highest price as well. And there were a lot of other benefits I could do, like such as staying later in the house after closing, or I even had that extra closing cost contribution if I choose to use them as my buying agent as well. So overall, I felt like Opendoor is the best way to go between Opendoor and Offerpad. that. But with that said, it still doesn't answer the question whether or not I would have been better off just listing it in the market in the first place. So what I would say, in my opinion, as an active real estate investor, is that my house is probably worth more along the lines of $550 to $560 in its fully renovated condition. So with Opendoor's offer at $523,100 and their 5% service fee and closing costs and all that kind of stuff taken out of it, I'd probably be netting around $493,000. And if you want to include that 1.25% fee that I get at closing, if I use them as my buying agent, then maybe I net something like $500,000. Now, on the other hand, let's say I managed to sell my property for what I personally believe it's worth. I did say $550 to $560. Let's go with $550 on the lower end. And let's also assume I have an agent that charges me 6% fees instead of 5%. And so that means I would pay $33,000 in agent fees. And so when you give me the net number of what I pocket, I'd be pocketing $513,500. So even if I sell this property on the lower end of what I think, and I have an agent that charges me 6% instead of 5%, I'm still pocketing anywhere from $13,000 to $19,000 more than if I go with Opendoor. So what you have to decide is, in this situation, would it be worth that $13,000 to $19,000 for the hassle-free experience? Now, for me personally, I couldn't possibly leave that kind of money on the table just for the sake of a hassle-free experience. I'd rather just go through the process and collect as much money as I can selling my house. But I understand that some people have a need to sell their house. They're kind of in a desperate situation. Maybe they're dealing with a divorce. Maybe they lost their job. And there's a reason why they have to get out of their house as fast as possible. So in situations like that, I can completely understand that if you're more in a need to sell situation, this could be the perfect situation to not have to deal with problems selling your house, having to get it ready for the market, having to deal with buyers that don't come through for you at the end. In those kind of situations, this can completely make more sense than listing it on the market. So anyways, with that said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hopefully you guys have a better idea of what you're dealing with if you're going for Opendoor, Offerpad, or Zillow, or maybe you actually want to list it on the market after watching this video. But either way, I hope you guys gained some value from it. And if you did, do me a favor and smash that like button. And if you haven't already done so, you definitely got to subscribe and hit that notification bell to watch more videos like this. Also, let me know in the comments if you enjoyed this video or if you have any thoughts or questions, and I'll do my best to get back to you. Finally, follow me on Instagram and TikTok at The Out of State Investor. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.